Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I'm doing everything right, but inside it feels like you are just barely surviving? We are taught how to lead teams and build careers, but we are rarely taught how to stay steady when our internal world stays shaky. Here's my promise to you today. Stick around until the very end of this conversation because I'm going to ask our guest, Camilla Calberg, to share the one specific daily practice she uses to reset her nervous system in under 60 seconds. It's a tool you can use immediately after this episode to stop overgiving and finally reclaim your calm. So stay tuned. Welcome, beautiful souls, to Awaken Your Authentic Self. I'm your host, Jessica Rooks. This is our sacred space for the seekers, the spiritual empaths, and the truth tellers who are ready to rise into their fullest expression. Each week, we journey inward to uncover the tools you need to heal, grow, and lead from your heart. If you are here, you are ready to stop shrinking and start shining. So let's dive in. Today, I have the honor of sitting down with a woman whose story bridges two very different worlds, the high-stakes corporate boardroom and the deep inner work of spiritual healing. Camilla Calberg is a former Fortune 500 transformation leader who worked with giants like BP, Shell, and IBM. From the outside, she was the picture of success. But on the inside, she was navigating a survival mode that eventually led to a life-altering rupture, a painful separation, and a court battle that stripped away her illusion of control. She realized that intellect and mindset weren't enough to heal the patterns her nervous system had learned to survive. Today, as the founder of She Leads, she guides high-performing women to lead with calm authority and emotional regulation. Camilla, welcome to the show. I am so grateful to have you and your energy here with us today.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I have looked forward to this conversation, and what a beautiful fly into what we're going to talk about today about nervous system reset. So important.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into the heart of your transformation. You mentioned that for years, you mastered leadership on the outside while surviving on the inside. Can you take us back to the specific moment you realized that your intellect alone couldn't solve the patterns your nervous system had learned to survive?
Ooh, be my honor. It's so wonderful at the same time, but it's true. For I'd say most of my life, and definitely also in corporate, I wore a mask. So successful on the outside, I was really good at faking it.
Mm.
Um, But what people didn't know, and Jessica, just yesterday, I'm now being, the code now says my daughter and we experienced psychological abuse. Nobody knew what was going on behind the scenes, what I was tolerating, what I was absorbing. And that became my nervous system standard, walking on eggshells, always scanning the room for danger and playing small. My mirror moment, and I have a few, I think that the mirror moment that got me to say, okay, I need to shift how we do life and how we show up, was have been working with a mentor coach for quite a while, but I was so good at pretending everything was fine.
Right.
She asked me to take an assessment, which is now having my own practice because it's about energy. And it reveals for love when you get triggered because it's a mirror that something is not within. And it was the first time she said, I asked Camilla what is really going on. And I could no longer keep it a secret. I have told nobody. And I realized crying that I needed to get out of this mess I
Right.
was in. Mm.
Right. That is so powerful because so many of us, we really do just try to think our way out of feeling.
Oh, yeah, and we ignore, we accept the challenges that we have in life. That is just how to be part of a family or be
Right.
successful or what. We just assume and accept it blindly and ignore our own health and really ignore that we have one life and let's get the most out of it rather than settling and meeting other people's lower standards.
Exactly. Well, that brings me to my next thought. Many of the empaths and high performers listening are quietly exhausted from just overgiving. How can they begin to tell the difference between a genuine soul yes to a responsibility and a trauma response of people pleasing just to stay safe?
Okay, let me sit with this. So let me start from the end. Soul led yes. You just can you feel that in your body. There is no fearful doubt showing up. Yes, this is me. Let's do it, right? That is your soul talking and you're challenging that yes. But responsible yes or no.
Right.
With a lot of high performers are trained to just say yes. It comes from and I have a client conversation in my mind right now. It comes from a fear. It really comes down to a yes. It comes down to fear of failure. Oh, fear of not being good enough. Fear of what if I said no? What will they think of me?
Right.
So that yes doesn't come with a level 10 energy. Like, yes! It comes up, okay, we do it because I have to.
Right.
And that's oftentimes, and there's so many people are reaching out to me these days, it's oftentimes when they're just about burnout, but they see no way out but saying yes. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And sadly, I understand it way too personally, but I'm pretty sure most of our listeners do understand that. Now, speaking of staying safe, you really did go through something incredibly difficult. You walked through a devastating season involving a high conflict divorce and court battles. In the middle of that deep rupture, what was the first spiritual or emotional tool that helped you to stop shrinking and start rebuilding your authority from a place of truth?
That's a really good question. And Jessica, I had so many questions, but it was the first question I ever got that question. So celebrating you.
Thank you.
The first tool I got is at least that one that shows up for me, and I think that's because it's so important. Who is living your life? Is it you or is it someone else? And the reason why that tool is also like a crossroad road is that we oftentimes live our life to serve other people's comfort zone rather than actually allowing ourselves to live our life. And I did not live my life on my terms. I lived my life to be safe, to conform because I was told, I mean, psychological violence, told I was not good enough. I started to believe that. But how true was that? But that of who do you live your life for? Yourself or for your partner?
Right. Absolutely. I've been through 2 marriages already, so I understand that completely. It's like trying to just always make sure that they're happy and that they're comfortable. And who am I?
Exactly. This is so deep. My body is responding now. I get goosebumps. It's like we also at work, whether it's at home, in our private life, at work, is that who are you leading for? And I don't talk about being from ego mind because then it's just I give and I take, right? But
Hmm.
why do you, and I often challenge a lot of my clients that, why do you have that job? Is it to prove yourself? or is it actually to set other people up for success? Why do you have that job? Simon, who are you? And how do you live your life? And that was my first wake-up call. That most of my beliefs were inherited beliefs from my parents. I didn't want to make them unhappy. But what were my core values? That was the deepest work that I had to go through. Is who am I and who do I want to be?
Wow. So you just had to rebuild from there.
Yeah, or maybe reframe it as I'm thinking about it. I had to come back and to who I really am,
Right.
right? And stop worrying what other people will think of me.
Absolutely. I love that. That really just highlights the difference between, just standard, I guess, standard advice and just what will give you really deep healing.
Yeah, and I had to. It's not easy. I don't. May I just share a bit more?
Absolutely. Please.
Because I think, at least what I know to be true, is that we are so afraid and what other people will think of us. So we are uncomfortable in our own skin, and I've been there. But I also had to learn to be comfortable in my own skin, that those who say no to me, they are not a match for me. But that's not how I lived most of my life. That is not how I served other people. I've been backstabbed. I mean, working with toxic leaders, allowing their thoughts and their limiting beliefs imprint in me that I was not good enough. But allowing ourselves to be who we are, that we are enough, is the most powerful work we can ever do. But many people, let me reframe that, we're not taught to live that way. We're not to be taught to be leaders that way. We're taught to optimize processes, spot mistakes, and then fix it, but never to operate from our higher self.
That's one of the reasons I had to leave my corporate job after 16 years, as a leader in my company. For years, I really did lead from a heart space. And my employees, they responded so well to it. And I loved them. They loved me. I'd walk in, it was all hugs. And all of a sudden, we got a new leader after the one retired. And everything just went downhill. And it was all of a sudden, everything I was doing, my metrics didn't matter. It didn't matter that my team was doing very well. Nothing I could do was good enough anymore.
Yeah.
And I just knew, like, this is not how I lead. This is not meant for me anymore. And like I said, I just really felt like I was being pushed out. And I really feel Spirit was doing that because it was time for me to move on and do what I was meant to do. And that had nothing to do with them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I'm celebrating you, right? But we get to have that awakening to understand that maybe it's for the better, for the best, and it's no longer meant for me, rather than losing our energy and our sanity.
Absolutely. Now, you distinguish between teaching mindset and healing nervous system patterns. For the woman who has read all the self-help books, but still feels stuck in anxiety or silence, what is the missing piece in connecting to the body's wisdom?
What I learned, what I learned, and what I think is the missing piece is our listening to our intuition, to our body. Because your body knows whether you're in a healthy relationship or not. Your body tells you that all the time, but we ignore those signals. So, and the books, we can read a lot about the books, but if we don't have someone who can actually ask those questions, how is your body doing right now?
Right.
Then it's very difficult, I find. That's why I keep investing in myself 7 years in, because I want to grow. But ignoring, and in school and society upbringing and the social construct, is what is intuition, the body signal, the feelings of the language of the body. Your body knows whether you're safe or not.
Right.
Your body knows if this is right or not. Your body knows if the person is telling the truth or not. Your body knows whether you tell the truth or not. But when we learn to listen to our body and be curious about what is my nervous system is telling me right now, and then upgrade the nervous system, because interesting, I'm just doing a video right now. This is our nervous system is here to protect us, and that comes from childhood, get to where you are right now. But it most often sabotages you where you want to go next. So
Right.
what I say and teach my clients is that we oftentimes procrastinate or we take plan B, but really we want to take plan A or path A. So we want to be curious about the beliefs that we tell ourselves, the reason why we cannot succeed, and challenge that nervous system. So actually, I'm pretty good now. I'm safe here. Let me do this because I want to grow or create more impact.
See, and when we take that's perfect advice, because our body, if we listen, I say it all the time, if you just take a minute, stay quiet and listen, your body's going to tell you everything you need to hear.
Absolutely. But we not learned that in school. I think that's a missing key to a more happy living our life.
Absolutely. Now, when we take that body wisdom into the workplace, it does change things. You talk about calm power. What does that look like practically for a spiritual empath in a high stakes corporate room? How do we protect our energy without building walls that disconnect us from our authentic selves?
I love that. So, so here's my perspective: is that nervous system is nervous system, and there's different triggers in the outer world. But when you learn that you're good enough, when you know your wisdom, you know that what you bring can serve other people, then you have a nervous system that is in sync in your brain and your head. Your brain and your heart is in sync.
Right.
So now we go from maybe I've been in a toxic relationship, right? That's a private setting to corporate setting. There's also a lot of people reach out to me right now when I talk about fear, toxic experiences reporting to toxic leaders. What I know to be true is a calm power is that when you are calm and do not absorb other people's emotions, when they feel their emotions, when they try to manipulate you, when they try to be right, when they try to micromanage. That's calm power, understanding that soul, what is really going on right now? Why are you so in your emotions? Why do you feel your emotions? And how that could look like in a whatever room you are in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a conversation. I have a client. So I serve a lot of clients who report to CEO, right? And they tell themselves that he doesn't respect us. He doesn't respect me. He doesn't respect my team. Who am I in this room? So when I upgrade her, I help her or guide her to own her wisdom, and she goes into the CEO, he's used to set the agenda. I want to know this and this and this. Before, she never really got to the point. She never really told him what he needed to hear. Most people go wrong, tell them what they want to hear. We're in that room to tell them what they need to hear. And she said, hey, that's good. Okay. But let me just tell you something. You need to hear this first. And she said, will calm power in that room to serve. That is really calm leadership. And if he interrupts, he's like, okay, that's good, but let me just continue, or let me just finish the sentence. But what happens, Jessica, is that maybe you can relate to that, but we often give in. We often allow other people to overrule us or
Mm-hmm. Run over us. Mm-hmm.
run over us. Thank you. And so why did he do that? When we get nervous and this nervous system, right?
And then
It's
you're
that
annoyed
high.
with yourself afterwards also.
Yeah, you are. And what happens is that you're giving power away to the person who runs you over. and you're no longer that powerful leader. So when you and we feel that we talked about before with intuition, we can see, right, are you challenged? It's like, okay, calm. That is my nervous system. Back to center, back to center. It's all right. And you can sometimes say calm power is also, right now I can feel I am triggered. The most authentic leaders, they honor their emotions, but they are not the emotions. And then you continue the meeting. So different tools are pulled in right now. How does that land? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That makes perfect sense. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are nodding their heads along with that right now. Now, I want to go a little deeper into the nuance of ambition because this audience is full of dreamers. How do you personally differentiate between healthy, soul-led ambition and the kind of achievement that is secretly fueled by fear, proving, or self-abandonment?
Healthy, say that again, because I want, there's a two distinctions. It's achievers that abandon themselves, and what was the first one? Healthy dreamers?
Healthy, soul-led ambition and the kind of achievement that is secretly fueled by fuel, proving, or self-abandonment.
So in my world, when I hear the two profiles or personas, one is coming from ego to proving that, see me, I'm right, but that person does not have a bigger why. It's for his, her good. And what happens oftentimes, because when that comes from transactional leadership, is that we actually spin the wheel and we burn out and we overwork, work and work and work. When we come from soul and we create something that is amazing, it just not only benefits you, it benefits two or more people, and you know your why. So the healthier way is to find your why. The healthier way is to know why you are in the room versus the other one that achieves something but comes from ego and from self-abandonment, that are not good enough, don't really also own their success, but really put in all the effort. So 2x mindset versus 10x mindset also.
Now, I can imagine that you probably do see a lot of proving energy in your clients.
Yes, but they want to go to transformational leadership. So I help them with that transformation. But sure, for sure, yeah.
Well, you've worked with women in biotech, right? And tech industries that demand that high performance. What is the most common invisible pattern that you see these powerful women carrying that blocks them from their full expression?
The most invisible pattern, there is, if there's different patterns, but there's one pattern that silently sabotages their success. And that is, they have not taken the time to understand what they're truly good at. I believe that we all have a mission on this planet. There's some things that is easier for you, Jessica, than for me. There's some things that is easier for me, that flows easier to me, than for you. And that is your superpower. That is my superpower. Most people haven't taken the time to understand why I have that role, why they're being promoted. So they keep working and working and working rather than, and they focus on 10 things and oftentimes procrastinate till 10 a.m., 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. The most important task, because they're people pleasing, they are in firefighting mode.
Right.
So the invisible pattern is that they don't know what their why are, what their superpower is, and they have a challenge when they want to find the next dream job, because they say you don't have a competitor when you truly know what you're really good at, and that's where I can help them discover their true power. Because then it's easier to negotiate your salary. It's easier to ask bold questions because you know that you know that you know that this is true. You've seen so many things in your career, but we forget to use that for our advantage or to our advantage.
I love that distinction. Absolutely. That's so powerful. Let me ask for the listener right now who is nodding along but feeling overwhelmed, for the woman who feels that she's holding everything together for everyone else at work and at home, what is one small act of rebellion that she can take today to reclaim her energy?
Ooh, is to say no.
Say no, right? And no is a full sentence.
No is a full sentence, and you don't have to explain why you say no. But to claim your energy, don't leak energy. Protect your energy and don't absorb other people's negative energy, which means, and it comes only by practice, but it's so worth it. Be aware or start measuring, tracking. When do you allow other people's frustration to be your frustration? When do you allow yourself to hop into the pool of discussion when you know you should actually be wiser to not jump in? Don't let any negative energy flow into your system. So protect yourself and say, okay, this is your energy. It's not my energy. It's so powerful.
That is powerful. Now, Camilla, before we close, I want to circle back to something we promised the listeners at the very beginning. For the woman listening right now who feels completely overwhelmed, who's in the car or at her desk feeling that survival mode kick in, what is one specific actionable practice she can do in under 60 seconds to reset her nervous system and come back to herself?
I love that. And so here it goes. How to reset our nervous system in less than 60 seconds. And I promise, dear listener, when you put in your reps, you can reset your nervous system as short as 3 seconds. Here's the formula. First of all, it's about being aware. Conscious aware. What is going on? Why do I feel what I feel right now? And where do I feel it in my body? Scan your body. Oftentimes I feel like I get toothache. What is that all about? I feel the pain. And then take a hand to where you can feel the pain on your shoulders, your heart is closing. And then ask, what is the story I'm telling myself I believe to be true? Oftentimes recreate a belief that we haven't validated. We have a fear of the future. But you get to de-story that story, or let that story leave your system. So connect with that, connect with the fear where it is, connect with the story, and say, now I choose a better feeling story. I know everything is working out for me. I know it for the best of everyone involved. Because, and it's so important, I think I need to elaborate on this. I want to, Jessica, is that what we focus on expands. So the more we expand on fear, the more that fear grows, and it also impacts your mental health. So focus on what you really want to manifest as the best solution. The more you practice, scan your body, notice where the fear is or the pain is right now, connect with the story, upgrade that story or flip that story, and then you can breathe.
Thank you. Camilla, thank you. That tool is exactly what we needed to hear. I want to thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. I want to thank you for walking through the fire and coming back to share the light with us. Now, where can our listeners find you, soak up your wisdom, and perhaps start their own journey of nervous system leadership?
Thanks for that opportunity. So I have a lot of videos on nervous system reset on YouTube. My name is Camilla Calberg. You can find it there. Also different posts, tools on LinkedIn, Camilla Calberg, and my own website, Camilla Calberg, with different programs. We run some free trainings every so often, and also some different cohorts and one-on-one. But schedule a call if you want to have a private strategy session with me, 30 minutes free call. I would love to connect with you.
Perfect. I will make sure to have all of those links in the show notes for everyone. Again, Camilla, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Jessica.
To my listeners, thank you for sharing your most precious resource with us today, your time and your energy. If this conversation struck a chord in your heart, if you felt that exhale in your own nervous system, please consider sharing this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. And if you feel called, leave a review. It helps this community grow so we can reach more souls ready to awaken. Remember, you don't have to just survive. You were made to thrive. Until next time, keep honoring your truth and keep awakening to your most authentic self.